Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Wilmac Wire. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a different type of episode geared up for you today, so I'm going to keep this intro pretty short. No guests for today's episode, just Steve and yours truly. We do these every so often, but the last one that we did was, in particular, our first, I believe, episode of season 3. So it's been a hot minute. It's been over 6 months. They're honestly, though, some of my favorite episodes because we really get a chance to slow down, reflect, and have a real conversation about what's been going on. Not very often, Steve and I are getting questions asked towards us. And in this type of conversational setting, it gives us a chance to share more of our thoughts and opinions on what's been happening. So this is episode 25 of season 3, which is absolutely wild to say out loud because last year we did 25 episodes total across the entirety of season 2. So we're 6 or so months into 2026 and we're already there. And we've got a huge lineup of guests for the second half of season 3. So to say the least, it's been pretty busy, but a good busy. So today, really, we're just talking about what's been top of mind for us lately. You'll get some personal icebreakers to learn more about Steve and myself. And we just chat about what's been going on in the industry, in our local community, and what's been happening at Wilmac. So great episode. Thanks to Steve, as always, for humoring me and joining me on the podcast every time and letting me ask him some crazy icebreaker questions. So thank you to our listeners for tuning in. I hope you enjoy season 3, episode 25 of the Wilmac Wire. Welcome to the Wilmac Wire. I'm Emily Miller, joined by my co-host, Steve McDonnell. On this show, we talk with the drivers, the leaders, innovators, and decision makers pushing customer interaction technology and AI forward. And because we're proud to call Western New York home, we also spotlight the drivers in our own community, the people and organizations shaping growth and innovation right here. Let's get into it. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wilmac Wire. I am one of your co-hosts, Emily McNulty, and I am joined today just by my other co-host, Steve McDonnell. Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. Excited for today. First episode with just the two of us.
Yeah, I was about to say for our listeners, we're running a solo episode today. You just get Steve and I to chit chat, but we don't do this too often, so we're gonna start putting it into the rotation a little bit more consistently. But for our listeners, this is episode 25 of season 3, and it's airing on June 25th. But Steve, I was doing some research before, and last year in season 2, we released 25 episodes total. So we're about halfway through this calendar year, and we've already met our number of episodes that we hit last year. So that's pretty crazy. A lot of content that we're pushing, which is exciting now.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That's impressive. We have 25 episodes under our belt.
Yeah. Yep. So we've recorded a lot. I was about to say, and I've forced you to record multiple at a time. So we're ahead of the game.
I wasn't part of most of last year's.
No. So we've had, including Bob, I don't know, probably 20 to 23 guests on. And our list is growing. So we've got a great
no half. Producer for those out there. Emily and her team track down all guests.
Yep. It's fun. Most people will say yes to doing a podcast. So I have to say, so if there is anyone out there who would be interested in being on this podcast, you are more than welcome to reach out to us too.
It's funny. Our sales reps are always like, people respond more to getting on the podcast than they will a business call.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny. We talked about that quite a bit at our half year as who maybe from our customer base or our partner base that we could ask. And I was like, I have a pretty good track record for getting people to agree. So if they're not reaching or responding to you, maybe they'll respond to me. So yeah, it's pretty comical. But congratulations, we're on episode 25 of season 3. That's no small feat. Okay, I had to start with an icebreaker. You knew it was coming.
My first time being on the spot on this side.
Yeah, no, we're both gonna answer it. So it's not a this or that.
Oh,
It's
so
not
both
on point
of us,
or off
good.
point. It's just like we got a couple questions that are a little bit more personal to us. So
All right.
the first one is, what are we currently watching? Do you have anything that you've been watching lately that's been top of mind?
Yes, I just have to remember what it was called. Widow's Bay.
What's that on?
It's kind of like, I think it's Apple TV, I want to say. It's like a horror but kind of black comedy, tongue in cheek. The
Yeah.
guy from The Americans, I don't know if you remember
Mm,
that show way back when.
yep.
He's on it. It's good. So we've been into that. Some show called The Burrows.
Okay.
Another kind of scary. My wife's into scary stuff, so those have been the two latest ones.
Yeah.
What about you?
Count me out of that. I've been struggling to get into a show lately, so I've been doing a lot of sports. You know, my husband is super into soccer, so we were following closely with Team USA on Friday and FIFA. NBA finals we watched closely, even though I struggle to watch NBA. And you know, you made a LinkedIn post about it.
I did. Got some traction. I'm not a soccer guy at all. Like,
Yeah.
I can't follow it. It takes too long for some of the same reasons
Yeah.
that I was talking about NBA of late. But was it Friday night when the USA
Yeah.
played? That was fantastic.
Great game.
Like, glued to the TV, absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm back in on soccer.
They came out hot,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to figure out a way we can engage the office with some of the FIFA games, how we could
Yeah.
put some fun brackets around it or something. But so yeah, mostly sports and then a little bit of WNBA. I know they're in the heat of the WNBA season, and for our listeners, I'm a big basketball fan, Steve and I. So
Lot of drama around Caitlin Clark. We don't have to get into it, but
yeah.
a lot of drama.
A lot of drama. Okay, so shared what we're currently watching. Next up, what we're currently reading or listening to, because I know you listen to a lot of podcasts. So care to share any of those?
Yeah. So deep in the podcast, what is it? Not all in one. I've talked about it on
The All In
All
podcast?
In,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Mhm.
That's always one of my top ones. Reading a couple books now. I'm into Peter Thiel big time right now, who's a serial entrepreneur, investor. He has a great book called 0 to 1 that I'm reading. And then another one by Ben Horowitz, another kind of venture capitalist guy. I think it's The Hard Things About Hard Things. Both very good, insightful books. But there's a podcast I'm listening to right now. Found it like last week, Knuckle Up with Nicole. I'm on my like second or third episode with him.
Yeah, no, I added that on my queue. I have a long drive, so I have all my podcasts queued up. Yeah, I'll go more towards the reading edge. Are any of our Wilmac employees who are listening will appreciate this, but I started reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Bob talks about it, I think, once a week, and Nick and Grace are constantly chatting about it. And I'm like, guys, don't tell me because I'm reading it now. No spoilers. So that's a bit of a sci-fi type book.
I feel like the whole dev team is into that series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think Brian might have read it too. But so I'm catching up to the masses on that one. And then another one is actually by an upcoming guest. So Adam Tim from the Healthy Dispatcher is joining us, and he has a couple books out there. We've been going to a lot of public safety conferences, and they've been speaking. So I'm reading his People Driven Leadership book, which is very specific to 911. So those are the two that I'm bouncing between right now. Okay.
I've watched Ivan Whitaker's podcast.
Yes.
CEO of Salt Lake 911 Center. He has some great guests on there. Very informative. It's it's beyond the
launch.
Beyond the launch.
Yeah.
Another
So
good
for our
podcast.
listeners, yeah, Ivan was a recent guest on the Wilmac Wire, and just has a lot of knowledge and a lot of connections in the space. So Steve, I know he got to chat with you for an episode, but he's building up his presence for sure. So we definitely recommend going to check that one out. Big podcast fans over here. So that's why we started our own. Okay, next thing on the list is favorite recent meal or restaurants that you've been to.
Probably Redwood in Rochester. Great steak place
Okay.
on Monroe Ave. Good food, good
Good food.
steak, good
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe and I don't, my husband and I don't eat out too often. So we've been grilling a ton in the back. I love to grill. We were out at the pool all day Saturday when it was beautiful up here and just grilling. That's my type of day.
What's your go-to grill food?
I've been on sausages like eggs or not yeah, sausages with some peppers and onions. Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
that's
go-to.
a good one.
That's the go-to. How about you? I know it's summer months, so have you guys been grilling a lot?
Yeah, a lot of chicken and fish.
Mm. Okay, what kind of fish on the grill?
I put it in tin foil and oil so it doesn't slide all over the
Mm.
place. Any white
Nice.
fish
Yeah.
Carrie likes. So a
Yeah.
lot halibut,
Yeah. Yum.
tilapia, any of
Yeah.
that.
That sounds good. I'll have to try that. Okay, and then last one, something that you've been into lately that has nothing to do with work.
Well, I don't know if I've been into it lately as much as the past, but it's summertime, so I'm trying to get out to golf, but it keeps getting worse summer and summer, my game and the amount of golf I'm playing.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm trying to play more
Yeah.
golf, which isn't going well.
No.
No.
Well, I know we're committed to a couple tournaments, like sponsored tournaments coming up too. So hopefully you'll be able to
That's the
get
only
out
way
with
I
a
can
few of
play.
us. Yeah, it's busy. Yeah, you'll be proud of me for this. I've been trying to get to a driving range more so I can better my game. Because for our listeners, I don't like being bad at things. So golf I struggle with.
So are you gonna get out and play with Joe now?
I'm gonna try to. He wraps up school in like a week and a half, and I think I told you he got a pass, so he can go basically whenever he wants to a couple certain courses. So I'm going to probably try to go out with him. I just struggle when it's not fast moving. Like I can commit to I think 9 holes to start.
If it's just the two of you for 9 holes, you can move fast.
Oh yeah, for
If it's
sure.
not a
So
busy time of day.
yeah, but I feel like for my business acumen, I need to lock in, get into it.
Be able to play it.
So yeah, but it's summertime, so I love being outside for sure. The dog's been loving the fence and running around a lot, so enjoying almost a year now in the new house. So it's been good. I'm pumped for it. Okay, so I figured for today's episode, like I said, with it just being you and I, Steve, we can kind of reflect a little bit on season 3, talk a little bit about the industry and locally, and then just kind of give a little bit of a state of the union. So starting with that mid-year reflection, I know I mentioned it at the top of the episode, but this is our 25th episode of season 3. Last year in season 2, we did a bi-weekly cadence. This year we're doing weekly. What are you pumped about for the Wilmac Wire? Like we've been chatting with a lot of awesome people. What's been top of mind for you?
Yeah, I think having the guests on is awesome. I like that we'll have local business guests, local politicians, and then we shift over to actual potential customers or prospects or industry leaders for the industries that we work in. So I think having that diversity has been awesome. I think we're getting better and better. It's way easier when you're in the actual podcast like situation when we have someone live than doing it like this. So I think in the future we want to do more of those, which is tough in the world we live in today because half our guests are not going to be in Rochester. At least half our guests aren't going to be in Rochester. So, but yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. When we first started, I would go into them being like, all right, we got to do this. Let's go. And now I actually get excited and enjoy doing it.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's really insightful just to chat with people and hear about their experiences. There's so many different podcasts out there and we could take it in so many different directions, but to be able to kind of stand on both sides of industry and local, we get to hear a lot of very unique stories. And on top of that, some very powerful people and powerful issues, and just kind of spread awareness on kind of the world that we live in day to day. So I really enjoy chatting with people. And like you said, I kind of view each as a challenge. Like, how can we break this person open a little bit and dig into some of the cool stuff that they've experienced. So I'm excited to just see if our listeners sneak peek, I guess, but the two very large scale conferences that we're attending in the public safety space this summer, NENA 2026 and APCO 2026, we're going to be doing some live podcast recordings there, pulling clips from some live interviews. So I'm pumped to see logistically how that works.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be sweet. Obviously, figuring out the logistics, the second one I'm sure will go a lot smoother than the first one, as if for our audience that continues to listen to us, we've been going to a lot of conferences for our WFM and public safety stuff, and these two are like the mega conferences, the APCO National and NENA National. So they'll be pretty cool atmospheres, and hopefully just getting commitments from some guests, and we can do it right there on the floor with everything going on will be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned too having people in person. That I will say, for anyone out there who's listening who might be considering making a podcast, just in person is next level compared to the online recording. There's a lot of tools out there, but we're pumped too this summer when our partners come into town, when our customers come into town. We try to take advantage of their time, not only just chatting with them and building that relationship, but also bringing them into the studio and having that face-to-face contact as we talk through it. So I always got to shout out Scott from Rockbox Studios for being our homeboy when it comes to recording the podcast. But all right, before I move kind of into the industry and Rochester conversation, Steve, do you have anything that you feel like has been surprising so far about the season, or that you had an expectation going into that's kind of changed as we've recorded 25 episodes?
I would say, we do this when we first did it, brand awareness, get Wilmac out there. I'm surprised by how many random people come up to me around Rochester, or are like, "Oh yeah, we've met before," and I'm like, I don't think we've met. And then come to find out, it's like, "Oh no, a buddy of mine was on your podcast, and I watched your podcast because of this," or "My husband was on your podcast." Heard that one recently. So it's nice that it's getting some traction locally. Hopefully we're having some interesting conversations. And yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. And we're always open to, I know you and I share about it on LinkedIn often, but it's available to listen to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, YouTube. Like, feel free to leave comments and questions. We'd love for input as to who we could talk to. And even sometimes with our guests, we say, all right, who would you suggest us reaching out to next? So yeah, especially too with some of our public safety folks, some of our enterprise folks, it's funny when they make the comment when they come on that they're like, "Oh, well, this person was on it, so I had to be on it," or they had heard of so and so on the podcast. So yeah, it's fun to see the traction building. Okay, so we'll move a little bit now into kind of the Rochester and industry specific talk. But I guess we chatted about it with Bob in the Behind the Build episode a few weeks back. But Steve, is there anything that you've been seeing kind of in the broader AI technology landscape that feels like very relevant to Wilmac right now that you feel like our listeners should know about?
Yeah, like I think we're just smack dab in the middle of all these AI decisions going on there. So it's constant. We've built these SaaS solutions over the past 3 to 4 years, I guess. If you pay attention to the markets, if you pay attention to our industry, the SaaS apocalypse was happening. And luckily for us, we were building some AI native agents for both the products. But I don't think it's as doom and gloom as people think, but we are literally at the intersection in the middle of it on a daily basis, figuring out pricing, consumption versus seats. Your typical SaaS consumption is kind of where AI native products are pushing you to. So we are literally in the intersection of everything you're hearing about on the news. Obviously SpaceX was the big news last week. But you really drill down to SpaceX. I think Elon is building a massive conglomerate, and AI is going to be backing all of that. Grok is positioned to do very well. I know it's not up right now with Anthropic and OpenAI, but it's got a lot more horsepower behind it, I would say, literally power. So being in Rochester and kind of being the intersection of it all is pretty cool, and figuring out, all right, where are we going to put our resources to? And I think for us, it's just really being curious, talking to everybody, especially our customers, and figuring out how we plow forward, but being able to change on a daily basis.
Yeah, that flexibility. I think the position where we're at, and we talked about it a lot at the half-year meeting internally, but we're small and nimble. We've always been that way, and if we can continue to find ways to be that way as we grow, that's huge. And on the AI piece, I think we talked about it a little bit with Bob too, but the PR around AI is very poor. So I encourage everyone listening just to continue educating themselves, and just testing it, using it. Steve mentioned too, the podcast, All In Podcast. That's how I educate myself on it. It's a great type of podcast to listen to. It's coming from multiple people with different positions and angles. So yeah, what were you going to say, Steve?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it's funny. I live, because of the world we live in some of the podcasts and circles, I guess I'm paying attention to. I'm in somewhat of an AI bubble and don't see all the negative stuff unless I really go out and look at it. But if you just go to the regular media, I guess you're going to see a lot of negative stuff. And again, I would say go out and educate yourselves. Really be curious. Try this stuff. Listen to podcasts. Listen to the actual people building this. There's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of negativity towards it. But all I see is efficiency and productivity. Going to save lives. I think, a lot of it right now has been, all right, software engineers and dev, their jobs are getting taken over. Now they're moving over to healthcare. I think you're going to see some unbelievable things in the next couple of years and what AI can do in the healthcare sector. So it is tough for the negative publicity, and there's a ton of money around it. But I also think people are building incredible things. That's capitalism, and that's innovation, and that's how our country was built. So I would agree with M, educate yourself as much as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, we've gone through these cycles before, like in the history of our world. Like, we talked about it with the calculator, we talked about it with the internet. Like, it's here. It's just up to you to figure out how you can utilize it and how it can benefit you. And I mean, speaking from our experience, like at Wilmac, we've just been curious, and we've tried to encourage it across the organization. We haven't necessarily like tried to force it in people's faces, but we've encouraged it and rewarded and like congratulated people who've been able to do incredible things with it. So it's really just learning. So really exciting space to be in right now. No, you mentioned it a little bit, but locally we've been talking a lot about AI too. Rochester is kind of, we've talked about it in the past, but there's obviously opportunities for it to improve, and it's trying to figure out kind of how it can build itself back up again. And I know you've been involved in a lot of those conversations. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you've been thinking about AI in Rochester and how Wilmac's position as building AI agents in kind of our region is impacting it?
Yeah, I think it's good timing. I was just reading an article before I hopped on here about New York State might be the first state to halt any construction or any investing in data centers for whatever reason. Not good at all. If we want to attract talent, grow startup, bring capital in here, just all of that isn't good. You listen to these podcasts of the guys and girls and companies that are doing this, and when they hear stuff like that about New York, it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth, and they say it out loud, and it's just not a good situation. I think New York in general needs to embrace AI and not look at it negatively, or we're going to get left behind. This stuff is moving way too quick. You see the news. It's not going to wait. And I think Rochester is in a good spot. But we have to make some changes. We got to get a startup ecosystem going. We got to get more innovation. We know Rochester pretty well, and there's some big companies that may have some AI built into some of their applications, like paychecks. But I wouldn't call them an AI native company by any means. And then you have some AI, maybe consulting firms. But to have one company in a city the size of ours, with the universities that we have, us being the only, what I can see so far, true AI native company actually building products to go out to market with. There's your Amazon partners and your Microsoft partners that are using AI and building products for customers. 100%, you have that in Rochester, but I think we're the only company that's AI native building our own products to actually ship them out to customers. And there should be way more in Rochester. So having a lot of discussions with the right people, I think everyone's head's in the right spot. And a lot of people are getting their head around AI. Rochester's had a lot of the same industries forever. So understanding this and also figuring out how to back it takes some time. And unfortunately, with AI, time is not your friend. So we want to keep pushing it. We'll be at the forefront of it. And I think it's important for Rochester and all of New York to start embracing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you've been doing a tremendous job doing that and speaking up and educating other people in the community about it. But on top of that, like, this podcast is a way that we do that too. We try to bring in as many local community leaders as we can, to maybe get them a little bit more curious and a little bit more educated on the subject. So it's top of mind for them. Like Steve said, we're in it every day. So it's something that we're constantly thinking about and reflecting on. And it definitely feels like, with how quickly AI moves, that you have to be thinking about it that way, or you're going to be left behind. So I know we talked about it with Bob in the last episode, but if you're not thinking about it now, like, how behind are you, you know? So we're just going to we're going to keep talking about it until our faces turn blue. So
yeah, I think it's tough for people because forever, at least in the past 100, 200 years, you were supposed to learn something and become an expert at it, whether that was college or training, whatever it may be, and then you become an expert at it, and you just do it and do it. AI is forcing people to kind of become entrepreneurial mindset. Like, you have to constantly be curious with this stuff. It's going to change constantly, and you have to be willing to change with it and be curious and utilize it. It's not something that just, here you go, here's the 10-step process that might take you a month to learn, but once you learn it, you're good to go. That's just not how it works. You really have to be tinkering with it, understand it, and be listening to and reading whatever you want to do, what everyone else is doing. Learn other use cases, learn how other people are utilizing it, learn how other companies are utilizing it. So I think that's an adjustment from how society is kind of went to market forever, and now we have to change.
yeah, I mean, it's flipped that traditional learning model really on its head. And I know you and I have both been in conversations with some of the local colleges and universities about how they approach teaching at, like, now, like, with AI in the space. Like, we talked about it last time with bringing in a few recent college grads into some of our entry level positions, and how they kind of have been taught that AI shouldn't be utilizing it, that they need to be thinking on their own, when realistically, like, I am so much more dangerous now as a marketer because I have a tool at my fingertips that can answer really any question about marketing that I need and could help educate me on it very quickly, versus me before trying to find courses online or going to a professor, or just having to live the experience. So it's just enabling us a lot quicker than I think what people expected.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for the universities. The universities are supposed to be for a learning experience and researching great knowledge, and society has turned universities into a system for people to learn how to be in the real world. And if they want to continue being a system for people in the real world world rewards efficiency and speed. It doesn't matter how the hell you get it done. So I think they got to figure out, what they want to be, and go from there. But, I don't envy them. It's a tough situation for them.
Very tough position to be in, for sure. All right. I'll move us kind of into now more of our Wilmac updates, what's been going on internally. I guess State of the Union, Mr. President. How are you feeling? What would you like to share with our listeners about what's been going on at Wilmac?
Good. Everything, again, is moving fast. We have a lot of conferences going on. I think we mentioned in our last podcast. We have several pilots with our Continuity WFM, which is awesome. I guess you could say it launched in October, but reality is it really launched in December. We have our first paying customer and customer in production, which is awesome. One of the top 5 largest PSAPs in the country. So the pilots are with the largest PSAPs in the country. And that's where we're kind of trying to prove it out. So that's awesome to see. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to have a concept, actually build it out, get it in front of dozens upon dozens of possible prospects, get it through procurement, get it into pilot mode, and get it, into production. That's not easy, and our team's been able to do it pretty freaking quick. So really proud of that, and I think we're just scratching the surface. So that's really exciting, and that's part of our business that can scale pretty predictably and pretty quick. And so pumped about that. Continuity Replay has the largest pipeline that we've ever had. Those deals are much larger and take time, as you know. We're dealing with Fortune 2,000 companies, maybe pretty much Fortune 1,000, but I guess you could go to 2,000, that are highly regulated. So those companies are a little bit different to work with than your 911 agency. There's a lot more bureaucracy, a lot more steps. So putting the sales team in place and the sales process that we have right now has been a lot, and I think we're in a great spot. So I think we're looking good as far as the product front. And then both those products have their own AI agents, Mac and Archie, that can be utilized, I should say, as a standalone or with them. And I think that's probably the most exciting. When you really look at Mac and Archie, you're like, whoa, this is impressive. So we're pumped. We're more than halfway through our fiscal year, so we're looking for a big close this year. But we're tracking to at least hit our budget, if not more, which would be 25% growth again year over year. So exciting stuff. We're growing at a good pace. I think next year would probably be the big jump. So all exciting stuff here.
Yeah, definitely.
What about from your end?
Yeah, from my end, similar. So, since I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary at Wilmac, which is crazy to reflect back on where we were in 2021 versus 2026, and how kind of our marketing has changed and evolved. I will say, for any marketers who are listening, marketing your own products is way more fun than marketing resale products. But you can just feel the momentum around here. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm a big believer in how much brand and culture correlate. And because our people are so awesome here, and because our culture is so positive, it just reflects in kind of our branding, our product, what we're building and what we're selling. Like Steve, you talk about it often, that like the builders and the sellers, those are the ones who are driving our company forward. And that driver mindset is so crucial. And it feels like every year we just get more and more aligned and clear on that. And it helps too with the transparency that like you emit too. You're very open with kind of where we're at and where we need to be. And when we're not up to the standard that we want to be. So setting that standard has been really important. And I love that leadership by example mentality. Like, you're in it day to day, I'm in it day to day, our hands are dirty. And we're getting into the weeds, but that's where we need to be right now if next year we want to take that jump. So I'm pumped. It's been really fun with Continuity WFM, taking both a new product and a new concept to a market, to a very receptive prospect base, an industry that is really built on community, and that everyone is impacted by as an ambulance drives by us. And then with Continuity Replay on the same front, just maturing in our product marketing, how we're taking it to market, how we're positioning it, how marketing and sales and dev are hand in hand as we build it, and expanding that customer base. It's just been, it feels like everything is building. So yeah, I'm pumped. I feel great about the team. Morale in the office is high. We're in our summer months, but we love having our food Fridays. We're a highly motivated office by food. So a lot of people still love to come in. And Steve, like you mentioned, traveling a lot. I'm personally going to Florida this week for a conference with John and Evan where they're speaking. It's, I think, the most I've ever traveled in a summer, and majority of it is because our product is exciting and growing and taking off. So can't complain seeing different parts of the world because of that. So yeah, I'm pumped. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, just the compounding effect. You mentioned 5 years, which is crazy. But if you think about where we were 5 years ago, that's even crazier. And like the last 18 months, how much it's jumped. So it seems like there was a lot of changes going on. Now changes are just part of our everyday life. And every 6 months, we're a completely different size company and a different type of company. And as we grow, that's what we got to get used to. And it's exciting.
Yeah, I was about to say, I try to reiterate that to my team often, because we're always like, it's a really busy season. And I'm like, get used to it. It's always going to be busy. We want it to be busy if we want to hit the growth goals that we've established. So yeah, all very exciting stuff. Okay, that's really all I had on the docket for today. Steve, is there anything else you wanted to share with our listeners before I wrap us up?
No, this has been exciting. Emily and her team have been doing a great job. I really just come in here and get to speak what's on my mind and ask crazy questions. So thanks to Emily and her team for really running with this. It's been great. I would say we have some awesome guests lined up for the second half of the year. So please tune in. And we'll keep giving you updates on where Wilmac is. And if you're interested in hopping on, give us a shout.
Send us a message for sure. Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's been a ton of fun having you on as a co-host, and just asking tough questions and thinking of things that I wouldn't have thought of, because you and I have very different personalities, and hey, it works out really well. So appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on with all these different guests. So that being said, for our listeners to stay connected with Steve and the best place is for sure LinkedIn. You can find Steve at Stephen McDonnell on LinkedIn, and you can find me at Emily McNulty also on LinkedIn. But to stay connected with Wilmac and follow along with kind of a lot of the stuff that Steve and I just chatted about and what we're living day to day, you can follow Wilmac Technologies on LinkedIn. Visit wilmactech.com for more resources. Subscribe to the Continuity WFM and Continuity Replay release newsletters that go out on a monthly cadence. And as always, you can come join us here and tune in on the Wilmac Wire every Thursday. So that's that. Nice solo episode, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Pumped up. Right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Wilmac Wire. If you like today's conversation, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or watch full episodes on our YouTube channel. You can also learn more about Wilmac Technologies and our work in customer interaction technology at wilmactech.com. We'll be back soon with more conversations with the drivers, those shaping our industry and those building right here in Western New York. See you next time.